Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me. In this series of videos, we're going to learn about anatomy together. My name is James, and I'm very excited to be here. Learning about anatomy used to be scary and intimidating, but not anymore. We've made it easy using our advanced next-generation learning techniques. There's a lot to learn when it comes to anatomy, so I brought along my friend Billy to help. Billy, say hello to our new friends. Oh, Billy, of course we're going to have fun. And I hope you do as well. One of the most frightening realizations about human existence is the fact that there's a spooky skeleton living inside of each and every one of us. Understanding the skeletal system is a difficult task as it is, but if you're terrified of skeletons like I am, it can be almost impossible. However, the root of all fear is a lack of understanding, and so the best way to get over our phobia of skeletons is to learn more about them. And the key to understanding skeletons is understanding joints. The first thing to understand about joints is that they can be classified in a number of different ways. One way is to classify based on structure. How is the joint built, and what is it made of? Joint structures come in three different varieties: fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial. The simplest joint structure is fibrous. A fibrous joint consists of two or more bones joined together by fibrous tissue. Specifically, this tissue is called dense fibrous connective tissue. These fibers can be almost microscopic or as big as ligaments, depending on where they're located. If you've ever taken a look at a human skull, you'll notice that it's covered in little cracks and seams, like this one right here. If you've never seen a real human skull before, you're really missing out. These joints are called sutures. Sutures are important for the development of the head and brain. As you all know, babies aren't born with a fully sutured skull. Most of the individual bones of the skull are just sort of floating around in there. This allows the child's brain to grow and expand over time. Sutures form as the individual bones of the skull gradually fuse together, eventually becoming one cohesive unit to protect the brain. The brain is quite soft, so keeping it safe is a pretty big deal. A second type of fibrous joint is the syndesmosis. This type of joint consists of two or more bones joined together by these things called ligaments. The length of these ligaments determines how much movement is possible at these joints. Generally speaking, the longer the ligament is, the more movement is possible at the joint. The joint connecting the distal ends of the tibia and fibula is an example of a syndesmosis. It looks a little bit like this. Actually, it looks nothing like this, but you get the idea. The last type of fibrous joint is the gomphosis. This is the term describing the joint that connects teeth to the alveolar socket. This connection is facilitated by small connective fibers called periodontal ligaments. Okay, let's review. Fibrous joints are made of dense fibrous connective tissue, and they don't move very much. They come in three types. The first type is the suture, which is only found in the skull. The second type is the syndesmosis, which is made up of ligaments. And the third type is the gomphosis, which consists of periodontal ligaments that hold the teeth in place. The second type of structural joint classification is the cartilaginous joint. Cartilaginous joints are similar to fibrous joints, only instead of being connected with fibrous tissue, they're connected, conveniently enough, with cartilage. There are two varieties of cartilaginous joint: synchondroses and symphyses. Let's take a look at each. Synchondroses are cartilaginous joints that consist of bones united by hyaline cartilage. By the way, hyaline cartilage is a clear, relatively firm variety of cartilage found throughout the body. Because of this rigidity, synchondroses don't allow for a lot of motion. An example of a synchondrosis can be found in the epiphyseal plates of young people. Here, the bone is still undergoing a transformation from hyaline cartilage to proper bone tissue, so it's only temporarily a joint. I know it's a bit strange to think of epiphyseal plates as being joints, considering they're sort of embedded inside of the bone, but it does meet our definition. It's bone connected to hyaline cartilage connected to more bone. Still confused? Yeah, me too. This kind of bone development is localized to the ends of long bones, such as the tibia, fibula, and femur shown in this knee x-ray, and the process is generally complete by adulthood. Oh, hi Billy. I didn't hear you come in. Here, you can lend me a hand. Shall we? The connection between the first rib and the sternum, which looks a bit like this, is also a synchondrosis. It's worth noting that only rib number 1 is a synchondrosis. The other pairs of ribs that attach to the sternum are of a different sort, as we'll see later on. The second type of cartilaginous joint is the symphysis. These joints are similar to synchondroses in that they don't permit very much movement. However, the tissue connecting each bone is fibrocartilage, rather than hyaline cartilage. What's the difference? I'm so glad you asked. Fibrocartilage contains large collagen fibers that help it be stretchy and resistant to pressure. There are collagen fibers in hyaline cartilage as well, but the fibers are quite a bit thinner than what's found in fibrocartilage. Symphyses tend to be a bit more flexible than synchondroses, so they can move and bend a little bit. You can find a symphysis connecting the anterior portions of your 2 pubic bones. This joint is fittingly called the pubic symphysis. Sorry about this, Billy. During childbirth, the symphysis can actually move quite a bit to, let babies happen. Otherwise, it acts kind of like a shock absorber. By the way, you can actually dislocate your pubic symphysis, and let me tell you, it's probably no fun at all. The joints between adjacent vertebral bodies are also symphyses. The disc in between each vertebrae is primarily composed of fibrocartilage, but there is some hyaline cartilage covering the surface of the bones. By the way, these are called intervertebral joints. There's also a structure on the lower jaw called the mandibular symphysis that technically is only a symphysis in infants. By the time you reach adulthood, the bones are completely fused together and it's not really a symphysis anymore. The structure also— No, Billy, no!